Yeah, I already know what you're thinking.
This would never happen, the Chief and Arbiter are best buds.
I'm very aware, so stop typing the comment about it. This is a what-if scenario. Anyway, as you can tell, the audio has had a massive upgrade. It's not permanent, unfortunately. I have just borrowed this from my supervisor from work, so thank you. But I'm sure once I earn enough money from this whole YouTube business, I will definitely invest in one of these things, because this thing is freaking great. I need this thing, man. It's amazing. So, during the events of Halo 3, what if the Master Chief, when he had a pistol to the Arbiter's head, just went... Relax, I'm joking. I'm definitely not starting it there. They were both literally at the Battle of Installation 04, aka the events of Halo CE. During around this time, it was the Arbiter who sent out a small number of ships from his fleet at Reach to pursue the Pillar of Autumn. Of course, this was before he became an Arbiter. And we all know how the story ends during the events of Halo CE. And if you don't, and you haven't played CE, what are you doing with your life? Go play it. What are you even doing here in this video? Go play it. It's worth it, I promise. Anyway, with that said, let's begin. September 20th, 2552. Fleetmaster, the zealot you sent to guard the cartographer has failed his task. A pale, blue-armoured elite states to his commanding officer. The Fleetmaster stood in the middle of the command centre of the large ship, staring out at the almost impossible-looking ring world that floats in front of him. For a second, the minor elite was unsure if the Fleetmaster had heard him, but the lights around the room reflected off the golden elite's armour as he turned. The elite shuts his mandibles again before he could repeat the sentence. The cartographer of that world is the least of our worries right now. The Fleetmaster looks down to the purple floor as he finishes his sentence. There was a sense of sadness, almost, in the way he said that. Or maybe it was disturbance. The parasite is here on the Halo. Securing this world without our glassing beams may be impossible. The Fleetmaster begins walking over to an alien-shaped chair that sat in the middle of the room, facing a large screen in front of him. The blue elite's eyes widen at the name. Parasite. The Covenant had come in contact with them once before. The Prophet of Regret was very adamant that these beings were left here by the ancient enemies of the gods. There is a demon on the Halo, Fleetmaster. He desecrated the sacred cartographer and killed our zealot. Thel Fadam stops in his tracks and once again turns back to his crew member. A demon, you're sure? He asks, with both his four-fingered hands balling into an odd-shaped fist of anger. Yes, Fleetmaster. Some of our brothers have also reported sights of another, but it hasn't been confirmed. The lower-ranked elite looks up at the Fleetmaster as the golden-armoured warrior begins to twist his head at him in curiosity. I see. Do you have the demon's location? The pale blue elite replies to him. We've heard reports of them around a completely different sector of the ring from the cartographer, not far from the Halo's control centre. Velfadam feels an almost jump within his body, an emotion of anxiety and deep stress. And what of our men at the control centre? Have they managed to bring the Holy Ring's systems online? In embarrassment for his brothers, he dips his head towards the ground. No, Fleetmaster. The oracle we were foretold of has not been found either. Thel looks at the elite miner that seems almost upset of his brother's progress. He moves over to him and places his large hand on the shoulder of the small elite's battle harness. "Never fear, brother. I will go down there myself." "Chief, there's another bridge past this door. Likely that the Covenant are occupying it." Cortana warns the heavily armoured Spartan as he finishes gunning down the remaining jackal in the octagonal-shaped room. Its small, handheld shield depletes as he falls to the metal floor of the room. Chief, without replying to his AI, reloads his assault rifle and turns over towards the door that Cortana had pointed out. She found it rather amusing that not only having a super soldier on the battlefield was impressive, but the one with his now very own super intelligent AI was almost overkill for the average squad of the Covenant. This installation must have been inhabited by beings small and large. Some doors are huge while others are fit for a human. I wonder if this ancient civilization had once thrived amongst other races of the galaxy, Cortana notes to herself. The tall door opens as the Master Chief walks towards it. A long, grey corridor with sharp turns stands in the path to the bridge. Chief scans each corner of the corridors as he moves, his assault rifle on hand unloaded. Outside of the structure, the weather was rather cold, snowing in fact. It was rather strange changing climates so quickly, from a warm, deserted island to a frost-filled ravine. The Chief wonders how far they had actually moved through the interior of the ring. After all, it was a rather drastic change, but the alien-made world could break all kinds of physics. Even Cortana couldn't find all the answers. They reach the door that leads to the snow-covered bridge. It slides open again automatically as the Chief steps forwards. Before a crudely awakened grunt can investigate, a green super soldier swings around the corner and plants a burst of bullets from his assault rifle into its face. Bright blue blood splatters onto the lightly snow-covered metallic bridge. Another grunt from behind the Chief in the other side of the now open doorway wakes up. Before it can get out a shot of its plasma pistol, the Master Chief, without taking his right hand off of his assault rifle that was still pointed out, moves his left hand down to his right thigh armour plating where his magnum rested, magnetically locked. He swings it to the grunt's location and fires. The armour-piercing bullet rips through the grunt's mask and enters its skull, killing it instantly. Chief, picking up more movement. Just the one heat sig, likely an elite. The Master Chief reloads his assault rifle and holsters his pistol once again. He slowly begins to peek around the corner of a wall that sits just before the doorway he had just come out of. An elite in gold armour stands there in a neutral state, facing the Master Chief, no weapon drawn. "Well, this is a first," Cortana says over the comms. The Master Chief keeps his weapon trained at the elite as he moves into the centre of the bridge, both now equal distance apart from one another. "Demon, your people are halting our progress towards the great journey. The gods' will are in our hands." Thel 'Vadam gestures with his hands as he talks, as if trying to create more understanding to the demon. "I don't know about you, but this great journey is making my skin crawl," Cortana remarks at the situation. "I offer you a chance, demon. Turn away from the world. Only we understand the will of the gods." The Master Chief, in annoyance, replies to the Fleet Master that halts his progress. That's not going to happen. His rifle still trained on the elite. Thel snarls in anger. So be it. Before the Master Chief could pull the trigger, the Fleet Master activates his active camo and had now turned almost invisible. The Master Chief quickly pulls the trigger in an attempt to hit the elite in hopes that it would catch a flash of his blue energy shields, but to no avail. It seems that the elite had dived out of the way of his bullets. Master Chief falls back whilst rolling a frag grenade in the general vicinity of where he assumed the elite would have moved to. He keeps the rifle pointed in the direction as he falls back. The grenade explodes and no sign of an elite appears. Even their Spec Ops units wasn't this good. He knew he wasn't dealing with the average hingehead. Suddenly, what sounded like pressurizing gas hissed out behind him. The Master Chief immediately recognized the sound. An energy sword. Before a hot plasma blade can pierce his armour, he dives forward while spinning around in the air, flipping to face the Golden Elite. Its blue energy sword lays in its hand and it roars in anger as he slips from its grasp. The Master Chief begins peppering Fel as he falls onto his back armour plating. Blue energy shields begin to light up, rapidly getting brighter and brighter before it depletes. Just as the energy shield disperses, the Master Chief's assault rifle was in need of a new mag of ammo. The elite knew that he could either fall back and let his shield recover, or take the lunge. As the Master Chief began reloading, Fel, with as much speed as he could, lunged towards the now prone Spartan, landing on top of him with his energy sword pointed inches from the golden visor of the demon. Master Chief had thrown his assault rifle to the side and reached an arm for his pistol and the other at the elite's hand, resisting the white-hot blade. The heavy Sangheli pushes down with one hand as the human with his left hand slows down the blade and slowly creeps down closer to his visor. Chief lets go of the magnum. One super augmented arm wasn't enough. He pushes with his other upwards at the sword. The elite does the same, another hand atop of the hilt, the blade pushing down with his weight aiding him. Chief was losing the battle of strength. As the blade gets closer, his armoured legs kick out and sweep the elite's left dog-like leg and knocking him to the Chief's side. As quick as the Spartan could, Chief picks up the magnum sitting on the floor of the bridge and shoots at the elite now on one knee, just as his shield had regenerated. It was close. Fel didn't flinch. His timing was perfect. It was rare for the Master Chief to be unlucky. The elite's blue energy shields flare up as the bullet burns in its shielding. The Arbiter grabs at the pistol-wielding hand and twists the gun just out of his way. The Master Chief quickly reacts and swings a knife with his free hand towards the elite's neck. It immediately gets intercepted by Fel's blade-wielding hand. Without letting go of his sword's hilt, he deactivates his blade and blocks the knife strike with his alien forearm, preventing from just hitting his neck. Fel had finally had enough. Once again, he activates the sword. The wide base of the sword immediately ignites and begins to slowly cut through the Master Chief's arm plating. His yellow shielding depletes and he recoils his knife-wielding arm back. As he does, Fel goes for the killing blow, lunging his sword towards the Spartan's chest. Before the blade can penetrate the armor plating, the Chief lets go of his magnum once again that Fel had still been grasping in his right hand. He ducks as the blade moves over his head. As he blocks out the burning pain in his right arm, the Master Chief plants his knife into the Arbiter's huge left foot. The Golden Elite screams in pain and his energy shields drop. As he roars out, Chief hops back up as the magnum falls out of the Elite's right hand. He grabs it in quick succession with his left hand and points it to the Golden Elite's head. The Elite attempts another lunge with his sword. Chief pulls the trigger. Chief notices a rapid bleeping sound within his armour. His status was completely unstable. How? He questions himself, completely confused. He looks down to his stomach to see a blue energy blade penetrating his armour. His eyes grow heavy. Forehammer, this is Cortana. Do you read? The AI, in a panic, immediately gets onto the comms. The Pelican pilot replies, "I copy you, Cortana. What is it? Over." "We have a Spartan casualty. We need evac ASAP." "Roger that, Cortana. On my way. Forehammer, out." Ooh, is he alive? Is he dead? We don't know. Until part 2. If I actually make one, because I'm lazy. I'm sure I will, though, if you all keep bugging me. How do you all enjoy the microphone? It's definitely a lot better than what I have, but like I said, unfortunately, this isn't permanent. But, like I said, when I make enough money, hopefully I'll be able to get one myself, and the video quality is just a hell of a lot better, as you can tell. So, I'll definitely get on that. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm starving. I'm gonna go make a pot noodle or something. I will see you all later. I love you all. Peace.